Good evening and welcome to the June 9th meeting of the Livermore City Council. Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Barrientos.
Present.
Councilmember Dunbar.
Here.
Councilmember Wong. Here. Vice Mayor Branning.
Here.
Mayor Marchand.
Here. Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, liberty and justice. Okay, I'm going to reorder the agenda just a bit here. We're going to take 3.4 first, and then we'll do the rest of the proclamations. But before that, I'm going to ask the city attorney if there was any action that was reportable taken in closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is your city attorney, Jason Alcala. No, the city council did not take any reportable action in closed session. However, I am reporting out that the city council did form an ad hoc city council subcommittee comprised of Mayor Marchand and Vice Mayor Branning to facilitate the recruitment for my successor, the city attorney, but ultimately bringing back to the entire council the pool of candidates to be vetted. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. With that, we're going to go to item 3.4. Recently, we received a remarkable letter from a remarkable young man. It was a very sad occurrence. There was an accident where his father was killed in a motorcycle accident on Mines Road on October 17th, 2023 by a distracted driver. And in this remarkable letter, he asked that something be done so that this wouldn't happen again, that people would be made aware that motorcyclists were out there and look out for them and to ensure that this wouldn't happen again. So May being Motorcycle Safety Awareness Month, Johnny Thomas came to City Hall and brought up the idea of having a sign at the intersection of Mines Road and Shirley Way. So tomorrow, June 10th, the sign will be placed on Mines Road in honor of Justin Thomas. And ironically, it's on his son Johnny's birthday. So the sign will be placed on his son's birthday at Mines Road and Shirley Way. So with that, I would like to present Johnny with the sign.
Hi, my name is Johnny Thomas. I just wanted to say thank you to the city of Livermore for doing this really cool thing for my dad. My dad's name was Justin Thomas. He meant everything to me. He grew up here in Livermore and loved this town. I asked the city if they could help me do something to remember him, and they said yes right away. That meant a lot. This sign isn't just for my dad. It is also to remind people to watch out for motorcycles and so other families stay safe. Thank you everyone who helped, like the mayor, city council, public works, the city manager, and the first responders. I'll never forget this day. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Johnny. With that, we're going to move on to the 2025 High School Senior Art Awards. Each year, the City of Livermore supports our youth and arts in the community by holding a high school senior arts award program. High school seniors from Livermore are invited to submit applications, and winners are selected based on their accomplishments in the arts at their school and on recommendations from their teachers. The city's Commission for the Arts reviews the applications and they make the final decision on the awardees. So don't blame the council, please. Tonight, I have the privilege of honoring 9 awardees and presenting those in attendance with their $600 check. We have with us tonight Tracy Sane, who is representing the Commission for the Arts and who will come down and present the awards with the council. So we have 2 attendees who were unable to attend this evening, but we'd still like to recognize them. We have Evan Paradise and Ethan Sadkowski. However, we also, so we can all process down. Okay, are we on? Not quite. Okay, there we go. You're the one with the money, right? Okay. All right. So with that, we would like to invite Rita Awasthi. Rita? We'll shake hands and then you can hand the money and shake hands. And what we'll do is let's get a photograph of individuals, then we'll get the whole group shot. All right? Did you get the money? Did you get the check? Okay. Oh, you haven't got the check. That's the important stuff. Okay. And then Katrina Blair. Katrina Blair. There she is. Next, Alana Cordova Hernandez. Oh. There we get a group shot. And we next is Trent Halan Francisco. Trent. Oh, all right. Alondra Cordova Hernandez. We're back on track here. Now, Trent Halan Francisco. And Vex Moore. Vex Moore. Annabella Piazza. Annabella. And finally, Abigail Sabado. Abigail. Okay, now group shot with everybody here. So let's, you guys stand back and then we'll stand behind you. Thank you all. So I have a deep fondness for the arts because even though I can't draw anything anybody could recognize, my wife is an artist. So I'm all about recognizing that the arts contribute to our quality of life. So thank you all and congratulations on the recognition. Next, we have Livermore Youth Council annual update presented by Chair Greta Fick-Furlot. Greta, good to see you again.
Also here with Allie Grant, our vice chair.
Okay, very good.
Sorry, we're just waiting for the slideshow.
Chair Furlock, could you make sure that you guys are speaking right into the microphone? Thank you.
Hello, Mayor Marchand and Vice Mayor Branding, council members. I'm Greta Fick-Furlot,
And I'm Allie Grant.
and we're here to report on the Livermore Youth Council's year. So first up, we have our overview. We have 3 staff liaisons. Nathan Brumley from the city of Livermore, McKenna Nation from LARPD, and Tracy Christmas from LBJUSD. We meet the first Monday of every month at 7 at the Robert Livermore Community Center, and we have 20 members on our council.
Livermore Youth Council, or LYC, is an opportunity for middle school and high school students living in Livermore to get involved in our community. It is a great way to represent the interests of the city of Livermore's youth by creating a forum where we can communicate ideas and concerns with the city council, LARPD, and LVJUSD. Some of our duties are acting as a liaison between youth and political decision makers, completing LYC-led initiatives, promoting programs that serve local students, promoting community services and awareness, promoting tolerance and appreciation of diversity, as well as recruiting new members and promoting LYC.
Okay, next up, we have some of our 2025 projects that next up, we have our 2025 LYC projects.
For our first event that we held was the World Cultural Fair, which this was our second year doing this event in our downtown right outside of our bankhead in the plaza. This event, we got together to celebrate different cultures of different regions around the world. So this included sharing foods from different regions, having arts and crafts for younger children in Livermore, as well as collaborating with different groups for musical and dance performances. And this is an event that we intend to host annually. Another event that we held, one of our first events from our transition as our commission into a council this year, was the Halloween costume contest, which was targeted towards younger children in Livermore. And this was an outlet for them to express themselves creatively and get in the festive spirit before Halloween.
Okay, next one, what I'll be talking about is our Livermore's Got Talent. We hosted, it's okay. We hosted a talent show for the youth of Livermore, and we had over 30 acts and 135 attendees. And we presented them with awards and we chose our winners, and it was just a fun way to get the youth involved and have them show their talent. Next up was our youth mental health fair that we were going to host on April 26th. Unfortunately, due to rain, we had to cancel the event, but instead we pivoted towards a PDF booklet, can be printed or just sent out PDF that hold all of the resources that were going to be at our mental health fair and put them all in one booklet that will be sent out to students, hopefully at the beginning of next year. This is a way for students to see all of the mental health resources that they have and just have them all in one place so they know where they can go and what is in Livermore for them. And we then plan to have our mental health fair, which in August, which I'll talk more about later.
In addition to hosting events, we collaborate with different groups and individuals at our monthly meetings. So in one of our meetings, we met with architects to help plan out and design the new coming teen room, which will be in our Civic Center library in the upcoming years. So in this meeting, we kind of just discussed what us as teens would want to see in a space where we can meet new people and share ideas and just come together as a community in a place where we felt maybe was lacking before, like a space where teens could come and all collaborate on ideas. In another meeting, we met with LVJUSD superintendent and assistant superintendent to discuss the changing schedules in our local high schools at LHS and GHS. So this allowed us to ask questions about why certain changes were made and get a better understanding about how to adapt to certain changes, which we will use this information in our future initiatives, which we'll talk a little bit more later, for helping ease the transition for middle schoolers transitioning into high school.
We also had a discussion with Jill Kirk about LARPD recreational offerings. With her, we talked about what teams would really like to see, because she has said that LARPD has struggled getting teams out to events, and just asking us what we want to see as teens. And also we were asking questions to her about like how she gets everything done. And then we also had a discussion with you guys, as you may know, and for everyone who wasn't at the meeting, we talked to you guys about, we asked you questions about what you guys do, and then we got a little bit of feedback at the end too of what we can try and do for our city. Okay, this is our what's next. So we're hoping to expand our events, especially our Halloween event. To start, we're hoping to collaborate with LPD at their trunk or treat, is it? Sorry. At their trunk or treat, and hoping to have our Halloween contest there. And also getting more community tables at events in our community, as well as expanding onto the middle school visits and using our connection with the superintendent to do that. We're also thinking of maybe doing a turkey trot, and then our mental health campaign, which I was talking about earlier. We're planning to have a new mental health fair in August 22nd, and creating it into a campaign where on social media we can spread the message of our event by, instead of doing, if you may know, a water bucket challenge, pieing challenge, where you pie someone in the face and you talk about how the event is coming up, and just to spread the awareness of event and have a fun way to get teens involved. And then finally, we also are going to start having a community service position, and hopefully getting more community service hours for our OIC members to help out our community. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
It sounds like you're very busy, and certainly appreciate the great work that you're doing. Any questions for the youth council? Vice Mayor.
Just a quick comment. I really appreciate you inviting us out. Thank you for a lot of hard-hitting questions for the mayor and I. You actually had, some challenging ones. It was definitely very entertaining, and, good interacting with everyone. And just as a follow-up, already, Greta has brought up ideas from after our meeting. So Chair Greta has reached out to me, and I look forward to hearing from other members of the council as well. And of course, anyone in the community on ideas on how we can better things in our community. So thank you for being proactive and being here today. Thank you.
And thank you for caring about our community and wanting to make a difference. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, excellent. Okay, then moving on to confirming the advisory body appointments to the Commission for the Arts, Historic Preservation Commission, Library Board of Trustees, and Livermore Housing Authority Board of Commissioners. So with that, we have Commission for the Arts. There was a subcommittee of the council that interviewed all of the candidates. It's always amazing to me the depth and breadth of talent that we have in our community that are willing to step up and keep Livermore the amazing community that it is. So for the Commission for the Arts, The commission or the subcommittee recommended Tawhida Babar to an unexpired term ending November 1st, 2029. Historic Preservation Commission, Shanavaz Nazrabadi to a regular term ending May 1st, 2029. To the Library Board of Trustees, Jason Hibono to an unexpired term ending June 1st, 2026. Lainey Pascal, a reappointment to a regular term for the library ending June 1st, 2028. Deborah Halford to a regular term ending June 1st, 2028. And Livermore Housing Authority, Terry Butchin to an unexpired term ending January 1st, 2028. Is there any public comment?
No public comments been received.
Okay, with that, I'd be willing to accept a motion to accept the subcommittee's recommendations. Moved by Councilmember Barrientos,
Seconded.
seconded by Councilmember Dunbar. If you would please come up and I'll ask the city clerk. Oh, sorry, take a vote. Yes, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, passed unanimously. Now I'll direct the city clerk to administer the oath of office. If you'll please come up. All of the appointees. Mr. Hibono.
Okay, please raise your right hand. You're going to repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I'm about to enter.
Thank you. And thank you all for volunteering your time to serve this community. Much appreciated. Okay, moving on to 4.0. This is the open forum. I'll ask the city clerk to explain how people can participate.
Thank you, Mayor. The City Council agenda provides opportunities for the public to participate in the meeting by addressing the City Council in the following ways. For non-agendized items, the public has the opportunity during open forum to address the City Council on any item of interest that is within the City Council's subject matter jurisdiction. For agendized items, the public can address the City Council on each item of business it considers when the mayor opens public comment and should be focused on that particular item. Please note, the speaker is not required to answer any questions from the City Council, and the City Council is not required to answer questions from the public. However, the mayor has the discretion to ask staff to address the speaker's comments when a council member believes it is relevant to a particular business item. When participating in tonight's meeting, one comment may be given per person per item. For consent calendar items, one comment may be given for all of the items on the consent calendar. If consent calendar items are pulled for discussion by the City Council, a speaker will be allowed one comment for each item pulled for discussion and a separate comment for the remaining consent calendar. To provide comment, please fill out and turn in a blue speaker card found at the entrance of the City Council chamber. Speakers will be announced in the order received. Once public comment opens, each participant's name will be announced and their 3 minutes will begin once at the lectern. The mayor will announce the conclusion of the public comment period after comments have been voiced into the record. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, do we have any, after that's all said, do we have any speakers?
Yes, sir, we do.
Okay.
The first speaker is Greg Scott, followed by Mark Roberts, followed by Sal Miranda.
Good evening. I'm Greg Scott. Boy, President Trump and Governor Gavin Newsom are at it. One thing President Trump has done is breaking the bond market. The U.S. Treasury market is $29 trillion market. It's the largest market in the world. It's part of their over $36 trillion fiscal deficit, which is part of the trend deficits of this country. The other deficit being the trade deficit. If you have a trade deficit, it means your country is basically, you don't have an income. You're relying on debt. So what's the problem? The problem is people aren't buying the Treasury bonds like they should be. An example is May 21st, $16 billion auction. It was $2.7 billion of bonds weren't bought, which is, they expected 2.4 billion not to be bought, but it's another 300 billion above it. So who buys those bonds? It goes to obligation of the 24 primary dealers for the Federal Reserve. That's 16 trillion. That was 16 billion, excuse me. $9 trillion has to be refinanced this year. Ouch. Who's going to buy it? Good luck on that. Gavin Newsom. Wow. He's proud of breaking down 16,000 encampments for the homeless in California. He's proud of that. Sherry Rose Coleman. She's a local disabled senior homeless person here in Livermore. She was found dead in early May in front of Nation's Restaurant. She was, her encampment of 10 encampment for a while was behind the Trader Joe's on the railroad track, and she was asked to move from there. Where was she supposed to go? Oh, she was supposed to go to your Citadel, your $20 million Citadel on Vineyard 2.0 on North Livermore. Why didn't she do that? Because she couldn't care for herself. She's too disabled to get on top of the cots. Okay, she rotted out there, she's gone. That was early May. A week later, Vincent Colley was found dead in the Arroyos. Okay, there's 2 dead homeless there. You had one city council member, former city council member, get up here in late October and say, we're making slow progress on homelessness here. That's pretty slow progress on Coleman and Colley. And then I heard a person I'm pretty sure I met, Skylar, he died in April. The homeless situation doesn't change. One last comment. I want to give credit to June 8th was the 58th anniversary of the unprecedented, unjustified attack on the USS Liberty. 34 crew members died, 171 were injured, and it wasn't a mistaken identity when you strafe lifeboats and you napalm the boat and you hit it with jets. And that's the only attack, unjustifiable attack on U.S. forces that was never responded to. It was criminal. Thank you.
The next speaker is Mark Roberts, followed by Sal Miranda, followed by Alan Marling.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. First, I want to start off by thanking Jason Alcala for his many years of service to the city. In particular, I found his counsel particularly wise when I served as your city manager. But the reason I'm here tonight is I am representing the LARPD Foundation, so our Parks District Foundation, and I want to invite all of you, members of the audience here and people at home, to our Wine Down in the Grove fundraiser. Now, I know you've all been thinking that, June 20th is the longest day of the year this year, and you were wondering, what am I going to do with that extra daylight? We've got a solution for you. So I don't bring just problems, we bring solutions here. It's a fantastic evening. There is wine and beer tasting. There is a wonderful dinner by On the Vine Catering. There is a fantastic silent auction, a wonderful live auction, including a trip to Hawaii to get auctioned off there. Now, I know some of you are going to say, I don't need anything. I have all the experiences and stuff that I have. We have something for you. We have Fund a Need, where you can essentially bid, leave your money with us, and not take home anything. It's a wonderful win-win. It's the perfect auction. So if you've got too much or not quite enough, or you're just looking to come out and support the community, come on out for Wine Down in the Grove. So what does this money go to do? It funds our largest program, which is our community support scholarship program. We awarded over $30,000 of scholarships last year that helped low-income residents in the community take advantage of all of LARPD's camps, programs, and products. So for example, 175 folks got to take swim lessons last year at an incredibly great subsidized rate. Drowning by death is the #1 cause of death for those under 5 and the #2 for those under 11. So it's a super important program, and those who are low income tend to be impacted disproportionately. So we're very proud of that program. In addition to the wonderful camps and swimming lessons, we did communication boards at 10 parks. We helped support the senior holiday luncheon. We provided transportation to Sycamore Grove from the Livermore Libraries for story time in the park, along with a bunch of other things. So come on out. You can get your tickets by going to LARPD Foundation. Just type that into the browser. It'll take you right there. You can get your tickets. So with that, I'd like to wrap up and thank you all for your time.
And have you been to those? It's a lot of fun. It's a great, it's a party. It really is a lot of fun. I
It's
enjoy
a
that a lot.
great way to have a good time while doing good. So thank you.
Supporting the community. Thank you.
The next speaker is Sal Miranda, followed by Alan Marling, followed by Sai Mateen.
Good afternoon, council, mayor, vice mayor, staff. My name's Sal Miranda, my colleague Dmitry Novohatsky. We represent Eco Green Solutions. We are a federally recognized energy service company by the Department of Energy. We specifically work as a trade professional for PG&E, and we have a program to not only help the city, small businesses in the city, and all your big businesses, but your parks, your police department, and any other energy using equipment that hasn't been upgraded yet. The program is aimed to be a zero budget impact, no money up front program, where the engineered savings that we're notating pays back. PG&E gives you about 10 years, 120 months as for a payback period. And it's all based upon your usage and your building tendencies. We offer no cost energy assessments for your city. So if you guys want to do a pilot project or just kind of see what the numbers taste like, there's no obligation to it. There's no obligation to the city or no budget impact to the city either. We do about 60% of that program for PG&E. And again, we have had great success with cities and the state, including CAL FIRE. We did all CAL FIRE locations. We've done all the DMVs, working with public colleges up and down the state. Essentially anybody who has a PG&E bill. We're just here to make you aware of what's available to the city and just the success we've had up and down the state. We have meeting notes, agenda items that you guys can piggyback off of. We have resolutions, everything needed to get, city attorney gonna read everything needed to go through the process. And also addresses the 4217 process, which allows us to contract with the city. And then AB 2208, which is the ban of fluorescent lighting for any of your locations. And that's it for me. Thank you guys for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll just great opportunity for the city, both businesses in the city, to get rid of outdated fluorescent lights, get those energy upgrades, zero out of the pocket, and you'll need an energy company, service company like us, to do the implementation, to do the energy audit and do the implementation. Thank you.
The next speaker is Alan Marling, followed by Sai Mateen.
Mayor and council members, I have an idea for how Livermore can house more of the homeless. Now, I admit It may not be practical, but at the very least, it is better than the governor's, which is not so much a solution as it is a persecution. Encampment sweeps waste taxpayer money and help no one. Encampments are logical responses to homelessness as they allow people to create their own neighborhoods and pool resources. Instead, what if Livermore placed a significant tax on empty homes? Real estate is often bought on spec. Homes hoarded and sold only when the time is right to maximize profit, while the homeless shiver on the streets. Capitalism is cruel and unusual. Now, if Livermore trends like other East Bay cities, we may indeed have more empty homes than we do homeless people. Now, a tax on those homes could provide money for more emergency housing, and property owners could be allowed a loophole. They can avoid the tax if they invite the needy to live in the empty homes as caretakers. Thank you.
The next speaker is Cy Matteen.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, members of the public. I am a citizen residing for long term in Pleasanton. My kids grow and then gone from that location. But recently I moved to your city and I'm very proud. I've been always, even from Pleasanton, I used to come use your library, which is really the best library in the Bay Area, I believe. And I'm very happy to be in your city. And on top of it, I'm a telecom engineer. I recently joined the school district of Livermore, and I'm going to be a teacher for math and science. And I'm just very thankful to be here. And I have some other points to mention later on. But at this point, really, I don't have anything to add, except one point that fire department and the police, when they have an incident, they have the lights on and the engine running all the time, even though they are in the back alley or someplace away from highway or traffic area. So I was thinking just because of saving some energy and then lowering the noise level, maybe they can just have one light flashing rather than the whole light is flashing all the time. That is just, for consideration. I'm just trying to make a suggestion. And that's about it. I'm very thankful. Thank you. Have a nice evening.
That concludes public comment.
Okay, with that, I'm going to close the public comment period and bring it up to the consent calendar. Does any member of the council wish to pull anything for the consent? I'm going to reorder consent. We're going to move 5.17, which is the budget, to after 6.1, which is the public hearing. We're dealing with city job vacancies. Does anybody wish to pull anything on consent?
I have a question on 5.3. I
Okay,
was looking at it, it says I was absent, then I read the next line, it says I was 2 minutes late. So am I absent or 2 minutes late?
I think you're just late.
What?
So when I did roll call, you weren't here, so we have to mark you absent, and then we mark whenever you showed up. So that's so technically you were here just late.
Okay, does anybody wish to pull anything for discussion other than the budget?
On procedure for 5.3, since I wasn't here, should I pull it to abstain or is?
So
we fine?
5.1 and 5.3 will be separate actions.
Okay, there we go. 5.1 minutes for April 28th and special meeting that needs separate action. Councilmember Barrientos was absent. 5.3, the special workshop, and Vice Mayor Branning was absent. So with that, we'll do 5.1 first. So kind of a motion for
Mayor?
5.1.
We have public comment on another part of the consent calendar. Did you want to do that now?
Okay, do we have public comment?
We do. We have not on the two items you're talking about, but we do have on 5.12.
Okay, well, let's do, we'll do 5.1. Is it, what item is there public comment?
5.12.
5.12?
5.12.
Okay, 5.12. Okay. Okay, with that, I'll ask for a motion for 5.1.
I'll move 5.1.
Okay, second?
Second.
Motion made by Vice Mayor, second by Councilmember Dunbar. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
And Councilmember Barrientos abstains. 5.3, this is, do I have a motion for 5.3?
Move rule.
Okay, Councilmember Dunbar, second by Councilmember Barrientos. Any discussion on the motion? Vice Mayor Branning was absent. All in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Okay, and Councilmember, Vice Mayor Branning
Abstain.
abstains. Okay, so that moves for 5.2, 5.12, 5.12. We have public comment on that.
The speaker is Alan Marley.
Okay,
Mayor and council members, 5.12 is about spending about $500,000 on a tank for the police department. I'm sorry, an armored car. And I could not help but wonder how many meals $500,000 could buy for the hungry, or how many meds and therapy sessions could $500,000 give to those in crisis, and how many beds $500,000 could buy for the homeless. Now, those services and more could rescue people from desperate straits. And if they were less desperate, they would be less likely to commit crime in the first place. A safer community would, by giving them these resources, would create a safer community, both for Livermore citizens, for the homeless in Livermore, and for the police officers as well. I fear that funneling too much money into the police office is going to create more crime.
That concludes public comment for the consent calendar.
okay, you're going to bring it back to the council. Is there any comment from the council?
I'm 512.
Yeah.
I do have a comment.
Okay,
I also had asked about this regarding, it did say that the money for this is coming from a state grant. And I asked, could that grant be used for something else? And so I don't know if this may be appropriate time to have that answered for the public, because I did receive an answer prior to the meeting.
Absolutely, through the mayor. This is your city manager, Mariana Birch, Councilmember Juan. Yes, a state COPS grant, COPS grant pays for this purchase. And that grant could be used for public safety purposes, mainly for frontline police enforcement. And in this case, we decided that the purchase of this vehicle that could help us secure our community better and respond to incidents is the appropriate purchase, given that funding.
but what you're saying is those funds cannot be used for any other purpose.
That is correct,
Has to
Mr.
be done
Mayor
for
and
public safety.
Councilmember Juan. That funding could not be used for human services mentioned by the speaker, such as meals and so on, but could be used for other public safety purposes.
Councilmember Dunbar.
In the report, it mentions that the vehicle that we have today as an armored car is we acquired in 2012, but was actually originally built in 2004. And by acquiring a new vehicle through this grant funding, we won't be spending as much money maintaining that old vehicle, which has reached the end of its life. Is that fair assessment?
That is a fair assessment, Councilmember. Thank you for asking that question. And again, I will just reiterate that our police department finds this to be an essential purchase to protect our residents in case of an emergency. And these vehicles are used on a regular basis for incidents such as barricaded suspects and potential call to school shootings and so on. And as you mentioned, in addition, the maintenance costs on the newer vehicle will be lower.
I had also asked how often we use this, because it seems like in Livermore, I've never seen these kinds of incidents. And the answer is, in the past 3 years, in 2022 was 11 times, 7 times in 2023, and 11 times again in 2024. So this vehicle is actually used much more than I expected.
That is correct, Councilmember Wong, and thank you for quoting those numbers. As I mentioned, it is an essential vehicle that our police department has to have, just like any other public safety agency around us. And the purpose of this vehicle is to protect lives and to protect victims in case of an emergency.
Yeah, because I meant my first reaction was similar to our speaker, that we're in a time of great need for our social services. We need meals, we need shelter, we need all of these things, and $500,000 would buy a lot of that, but this is a state grant that's intended for a specific purpose. We can't use it for those things if we wanted to.
And furthermore, I think it's better to have to have the piece of equipment and not have a need for it than to need it and not have it. So I think that this is we're talking about protecting the community, and we don't know what to expect. So it's better to be prepared.
At the same time, if I knew that we never used it or used it once in 10 years, it would be a little bit different.
Right. But as you pointed out, we do
can't
use
use
this much more frequently than we had hoped. And also there's been some comment about military grade equipment, and our drones are considered military equipment. And yet we used one recently to rescue an elderly gentleman who was lost, and more than likely saved his life. So these tools are just that. They're tools for our community. So any further discussion? I'd entertain a motion for 5.2 and 5.4 through 5.16. Okay, Councilmember Barrientos makes the motion. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Councilmember Dunbar. Any discussion on that motion? See no discussion. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passes unanimously. On to 6.1, public hearing. This is a hearing to receive information regarding the city's job vacancies.
Honorable Mayor Marchand and members of the City Council, this is once again your City Manager, Mariana Birch. Item 6.1 is going to be presented by the city's Human Resources Manager, Kristen Hilton. Give us just a moment to have the presentation up. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Kristen Hilton, and I am the city's Human Resources Manager. I'm here tonight to provide a very brief overview of California Assembly Bill 2561 and how the City of Livermore is addressing its new requirements. AB 2561 was approved in September of 2024 and became effective January 1st, 2025. It adds Government Code Section 3502.3 to the Myers-Milius-Brown Act and requires public agencies to do the following to enhance transparency in staffing and workplace planning. Track vacancies by bargaining unit, present vacancy information and status of recruitment and retention efforts at a public hearing at least once per year, and present any necessary changes to policies, procedures, and recruitment activities that may prevent obstacles in the hiring process. If any bargaining unit has a vacancy rate of over 20%, we are required to provide additional information as well as allow employee groups to present during this hearing. Unfortunately, in 2024, that threshold was not met. So as of December 31st, 2024, the city had 444 authorized regular and part-time positions, and the overall vacancy rate for the City of Livermore was 12%. Looking at our specific bargaining units, our Association of Livermore Employees and Livermore Management Group both had a vacancy rate of 13%. Our Police Officers Association and Police Management Association had 11%. And our unrepresented groups, which include Management Confidential, Confidential, and Executive Management, had a vacancy rate of 9%. We've been actively addressing our workforce needs, and between 2022-23 fiscal year to 23-24, we increased our total hires and promotions by over 50%, and we are on track to hire and promote even more this fiscal year. The city is also taking a proactive and strategic approach to attract and retain top talent, which includes streamlining our hiring process by setting clear targets and timelines for each step of our recruitment to reduce delays and improve the candidate experience, competitive compensation through a comprehensive compensation study and our active labor negotiations, offering recruitment incentives for hard-to-fill positions such as relocation expenses and advanced vacation accruals for previous public sector experience. This summer, we'll be launching a formal onboarding program designed to engage new employees early and introduce them to the city's culture, values, and expectations. Employee training and development. Last year, we launched a management training academy and are extending our training opportunities to all city employees this year. And finally, when appropriate, we can provide a flexible work option such as remote work or a 980 schedule. As such, our recommended action would be to receive this presentation for informational purposes only as required by AB 2561.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any public comment on this?
No public comments been received.
Okay, I'm going to close the public comment period. Is there any questions or comments from the council? Vice Mayor?
There's just a small, quick question I forgot to ask ahead of time. For the 20% threshold, is that a moment in time or a rolling average? Like, how do we decide when it's 20%?
That was not indicated. And so we did it as a moment of time in 2024.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Dunbar?
Just to say that I've seen the surveys that have come through, because some of them we get copied on indirectly, but our success is your success, and we're happy that we're making strides in keeping all of our employees happy, positive, with opportunities for growth, and keep up the good work.
Thank you very much.
Well, I found it interesting that the legislature determined that vacancies are a widespread and significant problem in the public sector. I would suggest to the legislature that a $16 billion state deficit is also an impediment to delivery of services. And I'm thinking that perhaps if they paid more attention to their budget and less focus on ours, maybe they'd be accomplishing some better results. So I think we're doing a great job here. And thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to consent item 5.17. This was the resolution approving the 2-year operating budget and the 5-year capital improvement plan. Is there any comment or is there any public comment on the budget?
No, sir, no public comments been received.
Isn't that remarkable? We don't have public comment on our budget and we're passing it on consent. And some of the other cities around us, I just saw that Morgan Hill is also facing a structural deficit as well. So I think that we're in great shape. Does anybody have questions or comments? We got a couple of comments or just some comments here. Oh, I'm sorry. This is yeah. So we're looking at the end of 27-28 about $1 million in surplus, and we're looking at some of the cities around us that are $10 million deficits. So again, congratulations to the great work that everyone's doing here. And I saw that we had the Distinguished Budget Award. How many years in a row have we received the Distinguished Budget Award?
Mr. Mayor, this is your city manager, Mariana Birch. I believe it has been about 30 years.
30 years. Again, congratulations to all the tremendous work that everyone's having been done here. So with that, looks like I'll be willing to accept a motion to approve the budget and the CIP.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Councilmember Dunbar,
I'll second.
seconded by Councilmember Wong. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, all in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Passed unanimously. Thank you all very much. This is great. We just sailed through this, and I look at some of the other cities around us that have been debating and arguing for hours and days and bringing it back. So congratulations to all of you for the great work that you're doing. So 6.2, this is the approving our wastewater cost of service study.
Mayor Marchand and members of the City Council. This is once again your City Manager, Mariana Birch. Item 6.2 is going to be presented by Anthony Smith, our Acting Assistant Public Works Director, and we're about ready with the presentation. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Well, good evening, Mayor and council members. As our city manager mentioned, my name is Anthony Smith. I'm your acting assistant public works director. And tonight I'm going to be presenting on the 2025 sewer rate study and updated sewer service charges. So the city operates its wastewater treatment, collection and disposal activities as an enterprise. And as such, it is a self-funding enterprise. And with these, property-related fees are the source of revenue for that enterprise. And they are governed by the state's Proposition 218. So Proposition 218 limits the authority of local governments to impose taxes, assessments, and fees, and also has a special section dedicated to property-related fees. For property-related fees, they're limited to the cost of providing the service to our customers, and they may not be imposed for general governmental services. Utility rates for sewer are subject to a majority protest process, which gives the public an opportunity to protest the proposed rates. For a majority protest to exist, the written protest must be equal to 50% plus one of the accounts or parcels, which is in the range of 14,000. Proposition 218 allows rates to be set up for up to 5 years, and so staff has recommended 5 years of rate adjustments. Property-related fees recover not only the ongoing costs of operations maintenance, but also the replacement of the city's assets. And paying for capital improvements can include either debt service or the less expensive pay-as-you-go approach. In addition to the majority protest process of Proposition 218, the city is also has opted into a new process brought about by AB 2257, which is known as an objection process. So this is a new process enabled by this state law that allows limits to be placed on court challenges for property-related fees like wastewater, as long as the city allows for written objections and then response to them in writing. And so the city has received some objections, and detailed responses along with those objections are found in tonight's agenda package. The rate study's primary objectives were, number one, to develop a financial plan to help the city understand the revenue that is required to provide this service to its customers. And that includes projections for the operations and maintenance costs, planned capital improvements and rehabs, debt service when necessary, and the ability to maintain sufficient reserve funds. After developing that financial plan and revenue requirement, then the rate study moves to a cost of service allocation step. And in this step, the costs are allocated to different customer classes based on the characteristics of those customer classes. And then after that cost allocation happens, then rates are calculated to help meet the revenue requirements and provide for revenue stability so that the city can continue to provide the service over the long term. There are two major components to our reserves, one for operations and maintenance, and that minimum fund target is set at 120 days of O&M costs, which is approximately $9 million. Then there's also a capital reserve with a minimum fund target that's set at the 5-year average of CIP investments in the wastewater system, which is a little over $9 million as well. So why are rate increases needed? So over the next 5 years, the city expects to spend $54 million in capital improvement costs. Operating expenses are rising by approximately 4% annually. The city has a need to keep reserve levels at or above minimum target levels, both to pay for those capital improvements, ongoing operations, and then also future capital improvements. A large project which will be required in the next 5-year period to comply with the new nutrient watershed permit. Staff estimates about $30 million will be needed to provide for that project in years 6 through 10. So the proposed rates tonight would be increasing by approximately 4% each year, which equates to about $3 per month for residential customers, for single-family residential customers. So the city has undertaken both, again, the Prop 218 process as well as the objection process.
So back in February and March, the city council reviewed the draft rate study and proposed rates. Late March, the city mailed out Proposition 218 notices to all of its customers. Then tonight, staff will be recommending that the council hold a public hearing to consider and approve new rates. And if approved tonight, the new rates will take effect July 1st. And since for residential customers, their bills are primarily on the tax rolls, those increases will be seen later in the year. So tonight, staff recommends that the council hold a public hearing, determine if a majority protest exists, and if it does not, then to adopt a resolution adopting the 2025 wastewater cost of service study, approving service rate increases as identified in that study, and amending the wastewater rates and charges, beginning with the next fiscal year, 25-26, going through 29-30. That concludes staff's presentation, and we are available for questions.
Thank you. Okay, this is the City of Livermore public hearing on the proposed adjustments to the wastewater service rates. Before we open the public hearing, I would like to ask our city attorney to explain the requirements of Article 8D, Section 6 of the California Constitution, commonly known as Proposition 218, governing this public hearing and the proposed adoption of the wastewater rates. Mr. City Attorney.
Certainly. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is Jason Alcala, your city attorney. Just to be brief, and you will have a public hearing today, which creates an opportunity for property owners and tenants to submit written protests directly to the city clerk, indicating any opposition they may have to the proposed water rates. To be clear, oral comments are inadequate. It would have to be written comments that can include their name and other procedural requirements in order to be counted as a protest. Mr. Smith did a great job of walking through Prop 218, what the process is, as well as AB 2257. Tonight is not the time to consider objections. That time closed on May 12th, and that information is contained within your agenda packet this evening. So with that, you can open your public hearing, receive any protests that may exist. If we need to tabulate, we can. And Mr. Smith did indicate the number for the threshold, which is a little roughly around 14,000. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to open the public hearing for any person wishing to speak on this item. After all oral comments have been heard, the city council may call for a short recess to determine if a majority protest to the proposed wastewater rates has been received. Only those written protests submitted prior to the close of the public hearing will be counted. So we've had the presentation on the rates, and now I'm going to open the public hearing. Do we have anyone who wishes to speak?
Yes, Mayor, we do. It's Jerry Artsting-Stall.
Hello, thank you very much. This is my statement of protest on the proposed fee changes. The master plan on the Livermore website still has not been updated and is still dated 2017. I also did issue a protest in the last proposed change in 2020. During the last increase of 2020, this was to be updated and still has not been addressed. And yet you still want to increase our fees / taxes because it is on our property tax bill. You told us back in 2020 that items would be done when the rates were increased back then, and they have yet to be done. You want our now fees of $859.80 per year to increase to $1,104.72 as a residential customer. That's almost a 29% increase. Anthony just stated that's 4%. I see 29% increase, not 4%. As a retiree, that is horrendous. And I also listed our parcel number and address as stated, and my husband and I both signed that as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
That concludes public comment.
Okay, with that, I'm seeing no others who wish to speak. I'm going to close the public hearing. I would like to provide anyone who would like to submit or withdraw a written protest the opportunity to do so. Once the public hearing is closed, the city clerk will no longer accept any written protests. on the proposed wastewater rates. Are there any remaining written protests to be delivered to the city clerk? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Do we have any comments from the council? Any questions, comments, or statements? Seeing none, just a, oh yes, Councilmember Dunbar.
Sure, that was quick. I didn't, I was still looking up some information.
Oh, okay.
So I went through this with staff and gave some questions just so people who are attending online maybe see some more details that changed or maybe we didn't go over. So the rate increase is for 4%. It was originally drafted as 5%. I just wanted to note that I went over this one in pretty meticulous detail with staff. So I wanted to go over the things that I saw and go through some of the objections that we saw that I felt were very well addressed by the rate study itself. Regarding, so there's an estimated use of city property, and that means that we charge to make sure that our pavement quality is kept up to date pursuant to the rate study that was in the study that was affected, saying, here's how much that damages the road subsurface. We are charging to keep our PCIs at 75. That's the rate that we're charging, correct?
That is correct.
Our goal is in the mid 80s, but we're not charging for that mid 80s PCI, even though hypothetically we might be able to. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I saw some objections in the study that talked about trying to break out the cost of service to by a per unit flow rate. And I felt like the staff did a really great job addressing that in the comments. But basically, in order to go to that, we would have to dramatically expand the size of the billing department by up to $1 million a year just to be able to get all those numbers from the water billing, which would in effect cancel out many of the rate savings that we would have even for low water users or low wastewater generators. Is that correct as well?
That is correct, council member.
Prop 218 does not allow for internal class subsidies, so we can't create discounts by law within the rate study. Is that correct?
Using rate revenue, correct.
Indeed. We can use general fund revenue to backfill, but that's more of a general budget discussion.
Correct.
If we grow faster than expected in this study, future rate increases would be probably lower as a result of spreading those costs, this fixed costs out within more users in the future. Is that correct?
That is correct.
But we're being conservative with our number because that's historically we have grown at about 0.5% generally.
That is also correct, council member.
In terms of capital expenditures, why are we saving as much for these capital expenditures that we have today and coming in the future? We're expecting in 2030, as you mentioned, that the nutrient requirements are going to be lower. So we're going to have to treat the discharge more thoroughly, and that will cost additional money and additional CIP projects, right?
That is correct.
And we're not actually budgeting that for in here, but we're maintaining the reserve fund at a healthy rate so that we can go to those and smooth out the increases in future years for those projects.
Yes, that is also correct, council member.
And it's fair to say that these are effectively pass-through rates because of the requirements coming down from regional state boards. It's not that we're doing this for fun. These are the requirements we have to meet. Is that correct?
That is correct, council member.
And then the last thing I saw floating around was that we have the highest wastewater rate in Alameda County, but I was shown a fact that is not in fact the case. We're sort of middle of the pack. Is that correct as well, even with these increases?
So it is correct that the city of Livermore does not have the highest rates in Alameda County. When spreading out all the different agencies, we're roughly in the middle.
Okay. I wanted to thank staff for all the work they did to go through this with me and talk about the policy options. And I'm very confident that we've ended up in the best policy option that maximizes fairness within reason to get something that's stable for the future CIP projects that we've got coming forward in the next few years. Thank you for all the work.
Yeah, Vice Mayor.
Thank you for all that detail. I just wanted to add just a couple of comments from the public speaker. Can we please double check to make sure the master plan is updated on the website, and updated with the new rates? As Councilmember Dunbar mentioned, there was an error in the original amount that was sent out to residents. So I think it was cited as 28 or something like that %. That is not accurate. What Mr. Smith was saying, it is actually a lower rate than was originally published. You can see the rates in the updated council packet. So it is lower than what went out initially. I just want to address those two concerns really quickly publicly. So.
Just to note that we have been spending, we've looked at projects in the $40 or $50 million range over the last few years, including a big $30 million project at the wastewater treatment facility for the various improvements. So we are spending this money.
Okay, yeah, and so having worked on both sides of the pipe, I've worked in water and in wastewater, and monitoring the exit flows, the effluent flows would be extraordinarily expensive. You'd have to install some sort of metering system at the sewer lateral, which would be extraordinarily expensive, both capital and operations. As Councilmember Dunbar mentioned, it'd be about $1 million a year to expand the billing department, and it's just it would be impractical, certainly. Some of the protest letters that we saw, the city should have a reserve fund established. And that's exactly what we're doing here, is we're establishing that reserve fund. The costs, the $30 million that Mr. Smith spoke about, that is as part of a pay-as-you-go, which is one of the ways that Zone 7 operated when I was on the board. And pay-as-you-go actually ends up saving about 50%. So we'll be saving with that $30 million expenditure for the nutrient mandate. We'll be saving about $15 million at pay-as-you-go. So we are being very good stewards of the taxpayer funding and the money. Some of the folks said that they did not use wastewater at their home. And of course, none of us do, because it's treated, we don't have those wastewater reuse systems in place here. But unless someone has a septic tank, everybody is using the wastewater system. And it's important that those who benefit from that system pay for the system. And that's exactly what we're doing here, is people who benefit pay. And this is an enterprise. So the money that goes into the enterprise stays in the enterprise. We don't move that around to any other purpose. So with that, if there's no further discussion, does the city clerk need a break to tally up the number of
No, sir.
protests? Okay. So with that, there's no break needed. I'll ask the city clerk to provide the city council with a tabulation of the results for all the written protests submitted prior to the close of the public hearing. I believe we sent out just over 27,000 notices. And what is the number of protests that we have received?
Thank you, Mayor. Prior to the close of the public hearing, we received a total of 43 written protests and 14 objections were filed pursuant to Government Code Section 53759.1. A majority of parcels directly liable for such charges would equal 14,169. As such, even without reviewing or authenticating protests, it's clear that a majority protest does not exist against the proposed wastewater rates. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, well, the clerk has advised us that based upon the number of written protests submitted prior to the close of the public hearing, a majority protest does not exist for the adoption of the proposed wastewater rates. So this is now an additional opportunity for the city council to have a discussion regarding the proposed wastewater rates. So with that, is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I will be willing to let's see, do any members speak? No, it doesn't. Okay. So with that, I'd be willing to accept a motion to approve the staff recommendation.
I'll move approval.
Moved by Councilmember Dunbar,
A second.
seconded by Councilmember Wong. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? It passes unanimously. Thank you all very much. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for the folks that did write to us and submit protests. But this, having worked on both sides of the pipes, when there is not insufficient asset management, and you don't put the funds in, the failures are catastrophic. And we certainly do not want that to happen here. When you turn on the faucet or you want to flush the toilet, you want things to work. And absolutely. So thank you for all the great work on this. Appreciate it. Seeing no matters for consideration, moving on to committee reports and matters initiated. Councilmember Dunbar, we'll start with you.
I've been out for a few days on a vacation attending my friend's wedding, so I don't have much to report for a while. I attended. I missed the deadline this morning because I was tired after getting in at about 2 in the morning yesterday. But I attended some of the martial arts openings with Councilmember Wong, and the LAFMA update was positive at the last regional board meeting. So everything's good.
Okay, very good. Councilmember Wong.
Just want to mention a couple of quick things. Several of us attended the open house of the new Open Heart Food Bank, which is fantastic. It'll really make more efficient our ability to distribute food through the many small food pantries in our city and in the Tri-Valley. And they can always use volunteer groups. If your community groups, your group of friends, students, or your company want to get together, come out and volunteer, they can really use it. Just go on their website. On May 30th, towards the end of API Heritage Month, and I neglected to mention this at our meeting last month, that May is API Heritage Month. I was invited by East Bay Parks Director Olivia San Juan, along with Dublin Mayor Sherry Hu, to co-host a hike in Dueling Canyon. Happened to be an almost 100-degree day. I asked if they wanted to call it off. No one did, so I couldn't wimp out. But it turned out to be great, and it wasn't that bad. And the rangers led us through a great hike there, and they had plenty of food and water for everyone. And then I want to say Happy Pride Month to everybody, and also Happy Juneteenth. June 21st on Saturday at Bankhead Plaza is a Juneteenth festival, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So I hope to see everyone there. And I want to thank folks at City Hall for welcoming in a Papa Tri-Valley intern this summer, and she's still there in the audience, Ashika Anand. So welcome to City of Livermore, or City Hall. She lives here in Livermore.
Okay, Councilmember Barrientos.
I forgot to add 2 things to it. One was Sky Family ribbon cutting, the martial arts. Dunbar was there riding his little scooter, and he's in full regalia. So it was pretty well packed. And so that was interesting. And then I also, I guess I went to that graduation of the the fire department. I attended that. That was well attended too, packed. You know, you need a bigger place for that. I think last year you said some people were evicted because it's too
Yeah,
crowded.
we were.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had, the VIPs were sitting in one area, and then there were families that were having to stand, so we got up and gave them our seats.
And my son did that last year, and I couldn't make it to his pinning.
Oh.
It would have been great to do that. Since that, he's got his EMT too.
Vice Mayor.
All right, thank you. I just want to start off by wishing everyone a happy rodeo week also. There's a number of events this week going on, culminating with the rodeo this weekend. It's a long-standing Livermore tradition. You can get the whole story at any time, but I'm really excited for all the events coming up. I'm looking forward to a really entertaining week. I have a couple of things to add on to my report, and then some comments during this time, but I also just want to remind that I won't be here for the second meeting in June, but we'll be out of town for that. So adding on to my report, I want to add on that I was at the APTA conference in Washington, D.C. with LAVTA. It was a very interesting conference. We were able to meet with all of our local congresspeople as well as staff for our senators. The really focus was talking about regional connectors to our rail system. As many people might know, there's a lot of initiatives going along, a lot of work for what do we do about the fiscal cliff that BART is facing, and not as much of a conversation about how do people get to BART and how are we going to make sure that it's still a functioning public transit system beyond BART. And so a lot of what we were talking about is what are we going to do for funding? What are we going to do with the regional measure that may or may not be coming? And how are we going to make sure that we're being supported as, a local bus agency? It was very meaningful conversations. I think we had their ear. I've been to Sacramento now about this. I've been to Washington about this. If you asked me 5 years ago if I would be going to our state and national capitals to lobby, I would have told you absolutely never. But for everyone who's listening, though, as we approach these issues, the real stance that's incredibly important for us is that we do get some return to source, that we do get money funding our bus operators. We've spent a lot of money supporting BART, and I'm absolutely in favor of BART as a system. I think they're absolutely vital to the region, but without us as a feeder bus system, the whole BART system begins to fall apart. You need a car to get to BART. We've kind of missed the mark entirely. So it was a great conference. I had a lot of fun. It was very interesting. It was my first time doing this, so very enjoyable. So I wanted to add that into my report. The other thing, while I have a moment off topic, sort of a matters initiated, but I was in LA last weekend. I just came back on Sunday. If you've turned on the news in the past few days, there's a few things going on there right now. And I was staying actually not far from where the protests began. I was actually just a few blocks away from everything that was happening Sunday night. I had left before things had really started to ramp up, but it really concerns me in a lot of ways about what's happening right now. This is, I'm not going to weigh in on the national, debates about this or anything, but it's shocking. LA is my hometown. It is absolutely shocking to see troops marching in a city, in any city in the US, particularly by, my home. Things are escalating, not de-escalating, it seems like right now. And I suppose matters initiated part of this is, what are we as Livermore doing? How are we prepared? Things are in uncharted territory. If we ended up in a situation where, federal authorities came to Livermore for any issue where we were not soliciting their help or we were not looking for aid, or in the case of LA, we're asking them not to be here. Do we have any plan, any, recourse? What is Livermore's plan if we end up in this situation? So I hope that the council or the staff can look into that. I imagine this is something you never thought about a few weeks ago, and here we are. So it's a grave concern to me. I want to make sure that our residents are safe, that our residents feel welcome, our residents feel that Livermore as a city has their back. And so my ask to staff is, what can we do and what is our plan? And I know that's a vague ask, but I hope I'm seeing nods, so I think you can help with getting us information there. So.
If I could just speak to that for a moment, we had some civil unrest 5 years ago with the murder of George Floyd. And I have to give a tremendous shout out to our police department, where we had hundreds of people assembling in our streets, and it was completely nonviolent. The police department handled it beautifully. They engaged with the protesters and ensured that the protest did not lose control. And I was so impressed at how the community, because we do have a different community here. We have a remarkable community. And I think that it was a combination of the community and the nature of the community here, the demeanor, the fact that, as I've said many times, the spirit of Robert Livermore, that spirit of kindness and generosity, continues to exist in the DNA of our community. And I think that that's why it didn't turn violent, both the combination of the people that we have here and that spirit that we have, and also the response of the police department and the fire department, that all came together and it didn't ignite. And I think that perhaps there were adversarial forces where violence did ignite. And I would certainly hope that would not happen here. But I think, as you pointed out, the fact that you saw cars being ignited in the middle of the street, that was shocking, I think, for all of us to witness something like that. So, certainly to have that conversation, to have a response from staff. So thank you for bringing that up. I'm glad you made it back. Just a few things I wanted to highlight and give a shout out. On the 14th of May, I went to a remarkable program by Daybreak Labs on the unseen opportunity, and it was on women's health initiatives and how women's health concerns have really been ignored for many, many years. And this presents a tremendous opportunity for business to step up and solve problems and issues that are being experienced by half the population. And this really is an unseen opportunity. So it was a great program where they had several panel discussions on that. I attended the Key to the City graduation, which is a great opportunity for the public to come out and look behind the curtain and see how the city operates. And this isn't an accident. We were ranked as one of the top cities in the state of California for quality of life. I had the State of the City address, which is always a lot of fun for me. And certainly appreciate the folks that came to that. Again, the state weighing in on our business. The state said that only one other council member could attend, and I appreciate the vice mayor coming. That was not an indication of what they thought of the presentation. The state forbid them to be there. And again, as I pointed out, maybe it'd be better if the state focused more on their budget than how many council members come to my State of the City. We also had the graduation of our Citizens Police Academy, another great program where you can look behind the scenes and participate in the virtual training program and the real-time awareness center. Again, we draw upon a number of the people that are part of that program to then volunteer as part of the city community as well. Again, I was at the badge pinning and welcomed the new recruits. With that, if there's no further business with the city, we lost a friend to the community. Donald Smith was a member of our Historic Preservation Commission. And there was, as they say, they preserve yesterday, today for tomorrow. So he was passionate about the history of our community. And I would like to adjourn the meeting in his memory and honor. With that, meeting is adjourned until our next meeting, June 23rd, here at the council chambers. Thank you.